Welcome to the NBA's greatest games. Today, we'll take you back into NBA history and relive one of the great matchups as it happened.
Welcome to the greatest basketball show on earth, the NBA All-Star Game. Meet our starting lineups for the East. Dave Bing, guard of the Washington Bullets. At forward, his teammate, Elvin Hayes, an 8-time All-Star. At the other forward, Hondo John Havlicek of the Boston Celtics, his 11th Star Game. At center, Big Bob McAdoo of the Buffalo Braves. 3 times an NBA All-Star. Walt Frazier's the other guard. He's in his 7th NBA All-Star Game. The coach of the East, Tommy Heinsohn of the Boston Celtics. 6 times a player, 4 times a coach. For the West, it's Tiny Archibald of Kansas City at guard, his 3rd All-Star Game. Making his first appearance, Brian Winters at guard of the Milwaukee Bucks. At forward, his teammate, Bobby Dandridge, also of the Bucks. At the other forward, Rick Barry of the Golden State Warriors, his 6th All-Star Game. At center, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of the Los Angeles Lakers, his 7th game. And the coach of this West team, Al Attles of the Golden State Warriors. Back-to-back years, he's had the best record coming into this game.
Give it all you got, take your very best shot, and may the best team win. The time is now, the name of the game is action. They're on the floor and they're ready to score, so let the game begin. And let's see how the ball's gonna bounce today. Welcome to NBA. Come on and join the rest of the crowd. There's a night classic around from your way. You'll see the best in basketball when you
NBA All-Star Game on CBS, East versus West. Sponsored by Light Beer. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. The Gillette Track 2 shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave. And by Datsun, America's #1 selling import for cars and trucks. Datsun saves.
The New York Knicks, number 10.
Welcome to the Spectrum in Philadelphia for the NBA's 26th annual All-Star Game. Good evening, everybody, and I'm Brent Musburger, and I think we've got a very special All-Star Game on tap tonight. You know, the past year has brought about some All-Star Games where a lot of performers have begged off. That is not true with the NBA. All the players that were voted for and selected by the coaches are here, and players on both teams have said they have come to play this game. And to tell you more about what strategies the 2 coaches have planned, let me call in Mindy Rudolph, whom a year ago I was introducing as a referee down in Phoenix.
Hi, Brent. How you doing this night?
Very
Great
good.
evening, isn't it? Brendan, talking to Tommy Heinsohn before the game, Tommy told me that he's going to go with his team as far as feel and instinct is concerned. He'll go with the hot hand, so to speak. He said something very interesting, that he wants the players suit up in the locker room. He wants the players on the bench and as they appear on the court. And the kids that have the hot hand, that's the kids that'll play. Now, of course, he's got a great selection to go with. He's got McGinnis, he's got Towns, he's got JoJo White, and of course, he's got Doug Collins. He's got a lot to go with. Now, with that, Attles, of course, he'll go with the starting lineup, after which he'll go with his 3rd guard, the Wilkes. He'll go with his 3rd guard, Phil Smith. They'll run with Archibald. They'll run with Van Leer. And we should have a great ball game tonight, Brent. I'm looking forward.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
There has been a very important development in the NBA today. An out-of-court settlement has been reached in the Oscar Robertson suit. And at halftime, the commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien, will be with me here at courtside to talk about what happens to the option clause after 1980 and what about the draft rights to the players who are coming out of college basketball. It's a very important halftime, not only for players who want to come into the NBA, but certainly for fans who want to know what's going to happen to the star players in the next few years. Mindy Rudolph, tell me who's going to officiate this game. Doesn't seem like an all-star game without you out there.
I had 8 of them, Brent. I had my share. Tossing the ball up will be Darryl Garrison, who will wear number 10. His partner will be Paul Mahalik, who is wearing number 22. And, of course, the sitter tonight, the 3rd, the alternate official, Lee Jones, on my right.
Eastern Conference All-Stars will be wearing the white uniforms, and in the blue uniforms, the Western Conference Stars. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still wearing those protective glasses after suffering that scratched retina a little more than a year ago. Jumping against Bob McAdoo, won by the West. Brian Winters of Milwaukee gives it off to Tiny Archibald. Al Adelson, pass the ball around. Let's work like a team. Let's see what happens. Kareem goes to Rick Barry. Barry can't get off the first shot. Elvin Hayes has him, deflected by Bing, and down comes McAdoo. And here is Walt Frazier, number 10 of the New York Knicks, bringing it up now for the East. Goes to McAdoo, passes, and it's knocked off. Bandridge has it on the steal. Here comes the West, just underway in the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the 26th annual NBA All-Star Game. Tiny Archibald of Kansas City with the ball. Holds it up now as they start their offense. Here's Jabbar out away from the basket. Gives off to Tiny. Havlicek on him. Tiny, first shot, he's got it. 27 points a year ago in Phoenix. Havlicek was open on the break, couldn't get it to him. Now they go on the right wing, and Rick Barry's got him. Here's McAdoo. Jabbar's there. Havlicek works on Barry. Gives it off now to Elvin Hayes. Bobby Dandridge on him. Hayes with a shot. Won't go. Rebound, Elvin Hayes. Frazier. So an offensive board. Walt gets a beautiful pass to McAdoo. It's underneath. Now Elvin Hayes can't get it off. Goes back to Walt Frazier. Shot clock down to 14 seconds. Back to McAdoo. Inside to Frazier. Can't have it. Bing up with the loose ball. Won't go, and Abdul-Jabbar clears to the West. Full length court pass picked up by Havlicek. Back comes the East now, right off the top. Here's Walt Frazier looking for the open man for the Knicks. Takes it in. Gives it off to Elvin Hayes, who's got it.
Kareem tried, but he couldn't get up there. Elvin Hayes using the glass very well, Brent, banking it off for a field goal.
Brian Winters now gives off to Abdul-Jabbar, a low post for the West. Give off to Dandridge, baseline left. Elvin Hayes gave him room. Bobby Dandridge has something to prove in this game, Mendy, because he thinks he was slighted after he made the starting lineup. He said a lot of players and fans said I don't belong, and I'm going to prove him different. Here's Havlicek.
You're right. I spoke to him about the game before that, and exactly what he said was, watch me tonight, baby. I'm going to do my thing.
So the first foul in this game has been called against Bobby Dandridge. Dave Bing, number 21, now of Washington. So long for Detroit in this All-Star game. Frazier gets inside with that patented move and hits. Archibald calls off the play, but they can't have too many sets. They didn't work that long in practice today. Barry tries to get it back off to Dandridge, who was cutting back over to the weak side, and the ball went out of bounds on the turnover.
Now, Barry is a great passer, and of course, the players who are with him have got to look for the pass, because Barry will not shoot it sometimes as much as they think he will, and they've got to look for that pass to Barry.
John Havlicek comes out away from the basket, takes Barry to the right side, and comes up outside and drills it. His 11th All-Star game. An amazing athlete, maybe the most amazing in the world. When you take a look at his legs the next time he comes down the court, always Barry burns him backdoor.
Just as you said, he got burned. Havlicek turned his head, looked at the ball, and Barry went baseline for a backdoor play. Perfectly executed.
Frazier comes over to the right side. Barry's out on the switch now. Pass underneath by McAdoo, knocked away. On the turnover, here comes Brian Winters. Off to Tiny Archibald, cut off beautifully by Frazier, and Hayes on the double team. And we're going to have a jump ball called here by Paul Mahalik, and it'll be Frazier and Tiny Archibald.
Both players help each other off the court. Good sportsmanship out there. Frazier made a great play, by the way. He stood his ground, made Tiny pull up, didn't allow him to drive into the front court, of course, caused the jump ball. We have a height advantage here. Let's see if the East takes advantage of it.
Walt Frazier slept through practice this morning, but he came out early tonight and worked for an hour. Said the alarm clock didn't go off, and he didn't get a call from the motel operator. Havlicek up shooting. Not there. Oh, Frazier almost got an offensive board, but Brian Winters comes back down court now and gives off to Barry. Can't give Rick Barry that kind of room.
Not at all. He is intense on the court. Before the game, he is so tight, so involved, so competitive.
West goes up by a field goal, 8-6. McAdoo holds the ball high. The East favored in most quarters. Havlicek holds the ball. Barry watching him. They go into Elvin Hayes, who comes from the turnaround. Not there. Air ball, and Archibald comes down. There might have been a defensive hand on that. Right down the middle comes Tiny. Dishes to Barry. On a rolling hook, right side, won't go. Rick was watching Tiny. He thought he was going to go all the way that time. Here comes Bing. McAdoo.
Bing, with the great peripheral vision, saw McAdoo coming off his left side, penetrated as far as he could. Beautiful field goal.
Wants the hook and his contact underneath. Elvin Hayes was guarding the big guy when he got it, and Hayes is called for his first personal.
Let's pick this up as Barry feeds the ball into Kareem. Elvin Hayes, hands all over Kareem. Now a little contact and tries to draw the foul. Wasn't fooled.
Back to Abdul-Jabbar. Skyhook.
Brent, that's the old match. Houston and UCLA. And if there's one guy that Elvin loves to play against, it's Kareem.
There's a foul called as Walt Frazier went up. Ryan Winters wearing number 31. The Milwaukee Bucks in that big Abdul-Jabbar trade. He came from Los Angeles to Milwaukee. And if you talk to Coach Larry Costello, he likes his present team very much. The surprising leaders of the Midwest Division. Abdul-Jabbar, on the other hand, has been playing very well, but perhaps not getting the kind of help he needs out of Los Angeles.
Shoot! 98. One. See it, I got it.
30 points for Walt Frazier. Last year at Phoenix in this game, the MVP.
Something interesting here on defense, Brent. Elvin Hayes is playing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and when they go down the other end, it's Bobby Dandridge who must play Elvin Hayes, which is a mismatch completely. You see if the East takes advantage of it when they come back on offense.
Abdul-Jabbar holds the ball away from the basket, faces it, went to Tiny Archibald as the shot clock ran down. Ball was out of bounds, so we got a turnover, and here comes the East. Tiny stays back to pick up Bing. Frazier passes it up court now quickly to McAdoo. Great pass, only Hayes was not expecting it. He thought McAdoo was going to go up with a shot. Now it's back to Bob, and here's Havlicek on the drive. Blocked by Abdul-Jabbar.
A little fly swat. Abdul-Jabbar expecting the shot. Watch this now as he times this beautifully. Knocks it out of bounds, goes back to the East team as Havlicek, I think, got his shoe knocked off on that block.
East and West tied at 10 as Dave Bing comes up firing. Abdul-Jabbar off with the rebound. Brian Winters now looks for someone to pass it to, brings it down himself on the right-hand side and holds it up. Here's Tiny Archibald. Bing trying to keep him out of the middle. Tiny shooting outside. Won't go, and Elvin Hayes yanks it away from Rick Barry and gives it off to Walt Frazier. Frazier pushes hard down the right side, tells Havlicek to get back inside and gives off to Elvin Hayes. Hayes makes a move now on Barry. Faces the basket. Here's Havlicek, just where Frazier positioned it. He's got it.
Had a mismatch on that play where Tiny had to pick up Archibald. Archibald had to pick up Havlicek down low. John Havlicek took advantage of it.
Winters up with a jump shot. He can shoot on the move, and Abdul-Jabbar came up and drove the rebound home over the head of Elvin Hayes.
I'll tell you, Elvin had his hand on that ball, and Kareem just took the ball completely away from him and stuffed it.
Here's Walt Frazier now. Doug Collins will be checking into the game. Philadelphia fans like that. Frazier on the right baseline. Tiny Archibald up. Barry moves off to help. Goes back to the other side. Havlicek is open. Won't go. Offensive board for Elvin Hayes, who is hustling tonight.
Jabbar has got to work on those boards. He doesn't have too much help. He's going to have to do it himself. Barry is not that great a rebound. I know it's Bobby Dandridge, and the East is tough on those boards.
East up by 2 points now as Dandridge passes off to Abdul-Jabbar, former teammates in Milwaukee. Brian Winters up with a shot. The battle is Dandridge on that offensive board. Big offensive rebound, Mindy.
And as we've said about rebounding before, it's position in life that counts, and Bobby Dandridge has a great position on that rebound and took it away from a much taller man.
Tommy Heinsohn and the East squad has called timeout. They'll get together, and when we come back, we'll have a new guard in the lineup for the East. It'll be Doug Collins of the Philadelphia 76ers. And he can move without the basketball extremely well. He moves so well, as a matter of fact, they say he has used about 12 pairs of sneakers this year.
Now, I'm just wondering something. I wonder if Tommy Heinsohn did something to Walt Frazier there by not showing up for practice this morning. He was the first substitute of the game.
Brian Winters knocked it away out of bounds.
Could be a little slap on the wrist there, Brent, from Heinsohn to Frazier. Get around on time next time.
McAdoo passes into Doug Collins. Winters has him. Look at Collins. Makes his move. Gives off to Havlicek now. Sealed off Abdul-Jabbar on the defensive switch. Shot clock begins to rotate down. So it was a pushing foul. Was called that time.
Here we go. Wait.
There was that mismatch I was talking about, Brent, with Bobby Dandridge on Hayes. There it is down low again.
Hayes has him all alone that time, and it won't foul. That was the second foul on Bobby Dandridge. As Archibald goes to the hoop, and coming over is Elvin Hayes.
Boy, Tiny turned on a burst of speed down the lane. Watch this. As he accelerates to the hoop, Hayes coming across and hits that 6-footer a whack. Woo! Tiny took a shot on that play, Brent, but he's fine.
He's fearless, Mendy, when he comes down into the land of the Giants.
Well, I'll tell you, that's his game. And if Tiny doesn't penetrate, he's not effective. He is so effective when he penetrates, frees up the open man, and draws the free throws.
Phil Smith checks into the game. Al Attles makes his first substitute as head coach of the West, and he inserts one of his guards from the Golden State Warriors. Phil will be working in the backcourt along with Archibald. Barry, Dandridge still a forwards, Abdul-Jabbar the center. Collins gets it down in a hurry now for the East. Takes his first shot.
Of course, the fans love it here in Philadelphia when their hometown boy scores.
Here's Dandridge putting a move on McAdoo. Gives off to Abdul-Jabbar. Right baseline. There's contact. Offensive foul is called by Darrell Garretson on Jabbar.
Let's watch this and see Elvin Hayes, the actor. Let's see if there's enough contact for the offensive foul. I doubt it. Elvin did a heck of a carry Grant on that play.
5 minutes to go in the first. Tied at 16. Dave Bing cut off by Abdul-Jabbar. Could not go down the center. Gives it back to Havlicek, who goes to the right baseline. Forced to pass. Abdul-Jabbar all over the place so far tonight. Elvin Hayes open, makes the pass to Havlicek, and Abdul-Jabbar is there. Havlicek put a drive on it. It wouldn't fall. Court length pass. Dandridge open. Gives to Dave Bing, who brings it back now for the Eastern All-Stars. Again cut off as he tries to penetrate. Here's Doug Collins. Phil Smith has him, and Collins does get it.
Collins is so quick. He has great, quick moves. Drove to the middle. Drew Barry to him. Up and over for the field goal.
Dandridge has trouble with the tennis shoe. Tied at 18. 4:13 to go. Dave Cowens is going to be checking into the game. Abdul-Jabbar goes over to Phil Smith. Dribbles once, takes his first shot, and drills it.
Hey, Jabbar has just thrown two beautiful passes. One to Dandridge and one to Phil Smith, and he can do it all. He can score, he can pass, he can set up the assist. He'll have to rebound here to really be effective, though, against this East.
Barry pulls down the missed shot. McAdoo took it first. Havlicek went up on the offensive cap in. Phil Smith back, knocked away, and it's Doug Collins. And listen to the crowd in Philadelphia. Up to Havlicek. It's away from Barry, and McAdoo on the hook.
Barry tried the best he could to cut that off. The best thing would have done for Barry right that time was to foul somebody and come up with a one-shot foul as opposed to a field goal.
That contact is Archibald. Made the drive that time. Dave Cowens, number 18, checks into the game. Bob McAdoo will sit down. JoJo White also comes in. And Alvin Adams of the Phoenix Suns, number 34. Into the game, Scott Wedman of the Kansas City Kings is out there. Big George McGinnis gets up. Number 30 checks in. You get a big round of applause here from the hometown fans. Listen to it. Some of them are even standing. Phil Smith, we've got wholesale substitutions here in the first quarter. Got away from Al Adams, and here's Cowens. If the East has an advantage, it's in their reserves. More experience. McGinnis gives off to Doug Collins. Collins been getting inside, comes up too high with a shot, and there is Dave Cowens.
Alan Adams is going to have a job blocking him out, boxing Dave away from the offensive boards, or he'll get hurt on every play.
Archibald back down for the West. Here is Adams handling the ball right now. Looks for someone to pass it to. Still holding it. Shot clock inside 10. Dandridge starts his drive. Ball and George McGinnis shanks down a rebound for the East. Cowens wasn't looking. Now bounces it off to Collins. Bill Smith there. Give to McGinnis. McGinnis rotates over to the left. Adams has him on the switch. Pass off over to the corner is Elvin Hayes. Cowens bats it back, but right to Archibald. And now it's the West. It's 3-on-2. Archibald West. A great pass to Dandridge.
Manny Archibald at his best, penetrating, drawing everybody toward him. Overhead pass to Dandridge, and that's Tiny's game, Brent.
We are in for something special in this All-Star game as JoJo White drills one. These players came to Philadelphia tonight to put it on. Archibald right straight down the middle, goes to the right side to Dandridge. Dandridge up firing. Yanked down by Elvin Hayes, looks for the outlet pass. Scott Wedman double back and slowed up Collins enough. He comes up on the left-hand side. Phil Smith hand checks it with the left hand. McGinnis now makes his big, strong move.
Great body control by McGinnis. I suspect that Elvin Hayes looks a little tired out there, Brent. And Rudy Tomjanovich, I would think, is coming in for him.
We've got contact. East ahead by 4 points. McGinnis by Paul Mahalik on the foul. And you are right. Here comes Tomjanovich now. Jamal Wilkes is also checking into the game. A lot of substituting going on now by both these teams. Look at Tiny Archibald come down and make this beautiful pass over here to Bobby Dandridge, who came up firing, and Dandridge has 8 points. A lot of new faces out there right now, Mindy. Phil Smith and Norm Van Leer of the Chicago Bulls will be the guards. Here's number 2, Van Leer. He'll probably say hello to Darrell Garretson before the night's over. Ball gets away. Now comes Doug Collins down the left side. Looks for someone. Gives it to JoJo White, who trails him. Now they come to George McGinnis. Jamal Wilkes. Look at that move to the hoop. McGinnis. Wedman yanks it down. Scott now brings it out. McGinnis waits. Bounce pass to Jamal Wilkes. JoJo has him. It's that jumper. Go. You see McGinnis putting it on for the crowd here. He's been playing with an injury the last 10 days. Who says that these All-Stars don't want to play?
Spoke to George McGinnis before the game back at practice this afternoon, and he said there is no way, growing pool or not, that I will not show up for tonight. There's Mr. Heartburn. Do I see a smile on Tommy Heinsohn's face?
That'll be the first time this year. Collins. That'll cause him to smile. Off to White. Norm Van Leer is there, and White just tries to shoot it over. It won't go. Wedman again hits the board. It's been very strong on the defensive board. Phil Smith, he eludes McGinnis. Comes up with a jump shot. Top still in play. Here's Doug Collins now. Waits, bounces it off to JoJo, gets away. He regains it. Alvin Adams directs the defense. Collins was wide open and won't fall. Collins saves it. McGinnis off to Collins, and it was knocked away. Look at Tomjanovich hit the boards, and he was all over him on the loose ball foul. Mindy, can I criticize the officiating just a minute as we look at Heinsohn, if you don't mind? I wish they'd call fewer loose ball fouls on rebounding when a guy comes up over the back. I don't know how you can avoid contact in that situation.
Well, it all depends whether you put the man in front of you at a disadvantage, Brent. And if you do that, then you've got to call the loose ball foul. If he's not at a disadvantage, you'll ignore it and let the play continue through. Now, you see down on the East basket, they're controlling 2 and 3 rebounds apiece. Unfortunately for them, they're not converting the rebound. But if they start doing that, the West is going to find themselves in a problem here.
Didn't hurt him as Phil Smith misses his free throws. It's 26-22. The East up by 4. We're down to 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Collins behind the back, comes up firing inside, drew the foul. He got the shot off.
We've got the foul on Phil Smith. And the way Darrell Garretson called the play, it could have been 15 yards for clipping.
Collins is so limber, Mindy, when he gets inside. He's like rubber-armed and rubber-legged.
We always refer to him as loosey-goosey.
We go one. What do we shoot? One.
1972, a member of the United States Olympic team. Great star out of Illinois State. Now Phil Smith brings it back. Here is Scott Wedman. Cut off by McGinnis. Doug Collins on the double team. Van Leer has it. West needs a basket now. They've fallen back by 6 points. Here is Phil Smith. Collins is all over him on the defense. Still on the turnaround jump shot. Won't go. Yanked down by you-know-who. Dave Cowens off to Tomjanovich. And here's JoJo White. Van Leer picks him up. White goes over to the left side. Cowens will take the shot outside. In and out. Phil Smith with the rebound. We've got only 3 seconds. He's got to hurry now. Collins was in on him on a loose ball foul. 1 second to go. There wasn't enough time, I don't think, to get off a shot because Smith was not even looking up at the board. Not an intelligent foul, and Heinsohn doesn't even think it was a foul.
I think really whether it was a foul or not a foul is really unimportant. What Collins really should have done was backed away, caused no contact, don't give the officials any opportunity to judge a play because there was no way that they were going to get a shot off with 1 second to play.
I agree, Mindy, with that completely. Phil Smith goes to the line, and it gave the West an opportunity to cut that lead. It is 28-23 as we come to the end of what is shaping up to be a terrific All-Star game.
Let's watch this play and watch the clock run down. We're down to 2. Now, there's no reason why Collins should reach in and get that ball because even if he did receive it, there's nowhere he's going to go with it. He couldn't score a field goal. The best thing to do is to back off and stay away.
The statistical difference in that first quarter was turnovers. The West turned it over 9 times, and the East but 3. Doug Collins scored 6 points to lead the East, and Bobby Dandridge had 8 for the West. Here's Dave Cowens of the East with the ball, working against Al Adams. Kind of a jump hook shot. Jamal Wilkes hits the boards as the West comes out trailing by 5 points. Wilkes comes held up at the free throw line, off to Scotty Wedman. hits it up over George McGinnis.
That's a big field goal for the West, because I think that's the first field goal they've scored in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and they needed that desperately to get them back on the flow.
McGinnis off to Cowens. Here is JoJo White. We've got 2 Celtics, 2 76ers, and a Houston Rocket out there right now. This could be some combination for the East. Here's Freddie Brown of the Seattle Supersonics, making his initial All-Star appearance. Does he ever deserve it? Bounce by Adams to Wilkes. Wilkes on the turnaround. Wedman came to the boards and hit it and knocked it out of bounds, so it'll go to the East. It will be Collins and JoJo White who will bring it up.
Alvin Adams has a tremendous responsibility on this West club right now, guarding Cowens, probably the only good rebounder in there at the time, has the shot block, pick away from picks. He's got his work cut out.
Another turnover, this time chalked up against the East. The West will put it in play. What an awesome responsibility for a rookie. Take on David Cowens in an All-Star game, Mindy.
And I give all the credit in the world to this young man. He's doing it so far very, very well.
Here's Van Leer, deep. Won't go. Snapped down by McGinnis. Off to his teammate Collins. Bounce pass to White, who's open. Pretty play. Won't fall. Adams hits the boards. Here's Freddie Brown on the right side. Defense is back extremely quickly now for the East. Jamal Wilkes is working against Cowens. This is a jumper again, and it is McGinnis. Strength on the boards for the East. West getting only 1 shot. Not getting the rebounding at the offensive end. Contact underneath. Gerald Garrettson blew his whistle. And it's against Freddie Brown, who was holding up as his man tried to rotate underneath and come over to the weak side.
Let's pick this up as the pass-off comes off, and we have a little hold as Doug Collins tried to cut through the lane. Of course, they picked it up for the foul.
Dennis with a miss. Battle. Collins controls it after Collins tipped it away, but here comes Wedman out with a steal. Freddie Brown now for the West. Behind his back, Wedman loses control. JoJo White back up for the East. Wedman and Collins in front. Doug Collins loses it, getting sloppy now, taken out by Curtis Rowe of Detroit, who's in the game for the West. Here is Fred Brown. Brown gets inside with a move, won't go. George McGinnis, and there was contact underneath as he snapped down that rebound. Norm Van Leer called for holding, a backcourt foul. What was it Van Leer said at the banquet last night when he got up and was introduced? He said, I love my coach.
I love my coach.
What you might read.
Right. And don't anybody believe it, I love my coach.
Did you see Dick Motta stand up and throw him a kiss any place, though?
I didn't see any roses fly up there either.
So McGinnis will come to the line. There's the big guy, Mindy. They got to keep him on the floor. This could be a long All-Star game for Abdul-Jabbar.
I would suspect right now that Jabbar is in there for instructions to get the ball inside, get it down low, and go to the hoop on his sky hooks on his turnarounds. They need a lot of inside shooting, which they haven't been getting in the last couple of minutes. They need scoring up front, and Jabbar can give it to them.
McGinnis 4th in the NBA in scoring right now, averaging about 24 points a game. Cowens controls it. Back now to McGinnis. Watch him make a move. That time he passed off to White. Won't go, and Curtis Rowe hits a defensive board. Out quickly to Van Leer, who checks over his left shoulder. Saw Cowens coming, slowed it up, goes to the right side to Scotty Wedman. 31-27. 9:34 to go in the first half from the Philadelphia Spectrum. The 26th annual NBA All-Star Game. White holds it. Here's McGinnis wide open. Won't go, and Cowens up.
Cowens timing that rebound beautifully up and over Jabbar. Now, there's no reason why Jabbar should have a rebound taken away from him. He's got 4 or 5 inches on Cowens, if not 6 inches. And by sheer desire, Cowens went up and over and picked off the rebound.
That's the secret to David Cowens, sheer desire.
You'll watch this. We're going to show this on the replay as McGinnis goes up for the miss. Cowens up, tall and tied. Great timing, and that's what rebounding is, desire and timing.
At the other end, Curtis Rowe missed a shot, but the West regained it. Controlled the offensive rebound. Van Leer on the bounce to Abdul-Jabbar. Jabbar looks cross court, waits for the open man. He'll take this on Collins, and down comes Doug Collins with a rebound after the missed shot. Waits for JoJo White to cut around him right now. Wedman checking White on the defensive switch. Tomjanovich sets a pick now for White. Here's JoJo. Couldn't use the screen. Didn't get there in time, and Cowens shoots it outside, and Abdul-Jabbar's got an easy rebound. Up court quickly to Freddie Brown, working against David Cowens. Oh, a great shot. Cowens expected him to pass, but Freddie missed it. Freddie comes back quickly on the steal and commits an over and back.
Unfortunate for Freddie Brown. He made a great steal. He anticipated the toss. He anticipated the pass. Now, he picked the ball up in the backcourt, passed it over the line. Unfortunately, he was in control when that happened. And when he went to pick up the ball again, Brent, that's a backcourt violation. He made a great play, but it turned out wrong. Tom Heinsohn, during that timeout, was a little disturbed with his East All-Stars. He feels they're overpassing, which some teams, when they get together in a gala extravaganza like this, will do it, Brent. They will overpass. But Tommy said, when you get the good shot, take it and don't look for someone else to pass off to.
Well, you're certainly right, Mendy. The East has hit only 2 of 8 shots here in the second quarter. The West 2 of 9. You take a look at the turnovers on your screen. The East will put the ball in play. Doug Collins now waits, gives off to Cowens, comes back to Randy Smith, who's making his first appearance in an All-Star game with the Buffalo Blaze. So there is speed to burn in that backcourt with Collins and Smith. Here's Tom Janovich in Houston. It's up in the air on Wedman, and again it is Cowens that keeps that ball in play at that end. Jabbar finally skies up and pulls down a rebound. Here's Rowe, holds it up. Now comes Van. West trailing 33-27. We've got 7:59 to go in the second quarter. Andy Smith watching Van Leer. Van Leer holds it. Now comes inside to Abdul-Jabbar. The Abdul-Jabbar Collins knocks away. Randy Smith trying to control it. Loose ball picked up by Van Leer, who takes a shot outside, drills it.
I'll tell you, there was a lot of contact on that pass into Jabbar, and they really should call a play in there fast to clean that up. Collins and Jabbar are battling each other.
Collins out at the top of the circle, goes to the right side to Randy Smith, who made a bad bounce pass. And here comes Freddie Brown. He doesn't see Randy on the other side. Didn't make any difference. Took it all away. Doug Collins gives it back to Smith, who brings it up now. Who's got something to prove after that misplay on offense. George McGinnis and Tom Janovich are the forwards. Here is Doug Collins. Van Leer picked off by Cowens, and Collins shoots up over the screen.
You see something, Cowens setting the pickup high. He doesn't belong out there, Brent. He's got to get down underneath, because if he doesn't, Jabbar will just let him stay out there, and Jabbar will block up the middle. He doesn't care where Cowens if he's outside.
Freddie Brown drilled that jump shot as a timeout was called here in the second quarter. You know, Mendy, one of the faces you usually see at an All-Star game is not here. Ned Irish, who I understand is down in Venice, Florida, watching the game on television. We certainly hope he's enjoying it and all his friends miss him.
And my best wishes to him also.
Önemli değil şeker.
Now let's see what happens.
John Drew of the Atlanta Hawks is making his first appearance. Second-year pro, great offensive rebounder. Curtis Rowe challenged him tremendously, drove right into him that time. Foul was called. Let's see if Curtis can be all right. He is. And how about John Drew?
Timeout. 20.
All right, look who's here. Dancing Harry. That's a pickup off the reject list. By Pat Williams. How many teams has he been waived by?
Let's watch this offensive foul as we come through. Curtis Rowe, John Drew holding his position beautifully, picking up the foul. A little bruise on the hip. John Drew is only 21 years old. And when you think of that, Brent, it's amazing, because he wasn't even born yet when I started refereeing in the NBA.
Frazier brings it down, and Freddie Brown keeps a hand on him, and Frazier just puts it up. Dave Cowens came up over the back of Abdul-Jabbar, and it was a loose ball foul that time. Now, you think this is a foul, Mendy?
Well, Dave Cowens was very, very unfortunate on this play.
You can't avoid that.
Because there was just a little contact. Now, had he picked up the rebound cleanly, perhaps there would have been no foul. Watch them down low. They're having a little mismatch here.
Ball went out of bounds on the turnover. It'll go over to the east. There's the commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien. He'll be with us at halftime to talk about that out-of-court settlement of the Oscar Robertson suit. Speaking of Oscar, he still has the record for points in All-Star competition, about 250. Speaking of points, Bobby McAdoo just yanked in a pair for the East. Van Leer brings it down for the West, 37-33. East has gone out ahead. Here's Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, Barry makes a great move to the basket, dishes off inside. Curtis Rowe came up, and he was fouled.
Great pass off by Rick Barry that time, and also great anticipation by Curtis Rowe.
In here, 2.
We'll pick this up as Barry drives to the baseline, knows he can't get the shot off. Curtis Rowe coming in from the other side, and a foul by McAdoo. Great pass by Rick Barry.
Tiny Archibald checks back into the game for the West. Van Leer goes out. Brown and Archibald the guards. Rose at the free throw line is one of the forwards along with Berry, and Abdul-Jabbar is the center. Cowens, the center for the East. Frazier and Smith are the guards. Bobby McAdoo is working more at a forward than he is at center, but that's an interesting combination. If they had them together all year long, they'd win a lot of basketball games, those two players.
He said something very interesting to the commissioner last night at the banquet. He said, would you please take us out of the Atlantic Division so I don't have to play against Dave Cowens 8 or 9 times a year.
That was the other forward of the East, John Drew, who was fouled that time. Curtis Rowe came right over his shoulder and hit him. Curtis Rowe goes out, and Bobby Dandridge, who scored 8 points in the first quarter, checks back in. Boy, the day after he was named a starter on this All-Star game, Dandridge pulled in for him. McAdoo has his shot blocked, pulls it back, bounces off Fred Brown, and puts it in.
Blocked by Kareem. He did it so well, but blocked it right back into the hands of McAdoo.
Tiny holds it up. Smith has him. Here's Abdul-Jabbar again. Rick Berry off the Jabbar screen. Won't go, and down comes Walt Frazier for the East. Cut off by Archibald. Goes to the right side to John Drew. Abdul-Jabbar quickly to Tiny Archibald at the other end. He'll take Drew inside, put it in, and draw the foul. That's a patented Archibald move. And I'll tell you, as we said in the first quarter, Tiny fears no man alive.
And he did it so well by protecting the ball on this play. You'll watch, Tiny's a natural left-hander. He sees Drew coming, switches it over to the right hand, protects the ball beautifully, and uses the glass. That is good anticipation and good thinking by the little guy.
Makes a three-point play. It's 39-37. West trailing by just 2, and Elvin Hayes getting ready to check back in for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Frazier with the ball against Freddie Brown. Makes the shot outside, in and out. Battle underneath the ball. Out of bounds and goes over to the West, and here is he checking back in. So the West now with a chance to tie it. 4:38 to go in the second quarter. Dave Cowens will take a break. And Hayes will guard Abdul-Jabbar, leaving McAdoo over on Rick Berry. Archibald gives off to Dandridge. Dandridge slides around Jabbar. Now gives to Rick Berry coming the other way. Hayes on him on the switch. Drew jumps out on defense. Back now to Rick Berry. Shot clock going down. Berry on the drive. Knocked back to Tiny Archibald. Shot clock recycles. They've got a full 24.
I don't know why that ball isn't going into Kareem. There it is, because he's so effective down low.
Outside is Archibald with the miss, and McAdoo almost lost it, hit it, knocked back, and it was Dandridge who won't go in, and finally Rick Berry puts it in for the West, and we've got a tie.
A little sloppy out there, and I'll tell you, Tommy Heinsohn, although he doesn't coach all these young men, he is really upset. He just slammed his program down, and he is really upset at his club the way they're playing right now.
Frazier, Randy Smith, Hayes, McAdoo, and Drew. Another turnover. That won't make him any happier. Back down to Jabbar to break. Won't go, and here comes Elvin Hayes. Now it's the East coming down on the attack. McAdoo gives off to Drew. Cuts to the hoop.
I thought that Kareem was going to stuff that shot on the last play. Found himself a little too close on the knees and tried to use the glass. Unfortunately missed.
Berry outside. Drew at the other end with a rebound. Frazier wheels around Brown. McAdoo is all alone. Defensive mistake. Weak side forward and rotate back on that play, and nobody picked him up at the other end. 43-39. 3:02 to go. Back now comes the West. Archibald waits to set the play. Randy Smith gives him too much room, and Tiny drills it. Frazier back quickly for the East. A 2-point East lead. Hayes tries to make it 4. Won't go. Loose ball. Hit last by Abdul-Jabbar out of bounds.
I'll tell you, Elvin Hayes loves to score against Kareem. But there's one guy, one big center in this league he loves to score against is a Kareem. It's almost like a personal vendetta to score when Kareem is playing him on defense. He remembers the college days, and he got burned a few times by Kareem, and he tries to make it up here in this league every time they play each other.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
Bob McAdoo has taken charge for the East. He has scored a total of 10 points. But Dave Cowens, the red-headed center of Boston, yanked down 8 rebounds. For Al Attle's Western team, Tiny Archibald has scored 9 points. Attles backs away, and Rick Barry is saying something now to Bobby Dandridge and Tiny Archibald. The West comes out, trailing by a field goal. 2:45 to go in the first half, and we've got a great halftime show for you. Red Auerbach, red on round ball. Going to be talking a little bit about acting. We're going to have the commissioner of the NBA talking about that developing story regarding the Oscar Robertson suit. We've got award presentations for 2 of the greatest players of the NBA, Rick Barry, John Havlicek. So get a beer during the next commercial break and come back for halftime. Elvin Hayes now holds it up against Abdul-Jabbar. Waits, the shot clock goes down, and it was off his leg and out of bounds, says Mahalik. East will retain possession. Here's Walt Frazier. Brian Winters gives him the left side, and Walt takes it. Comes to that baseline. Now double team. Back outside to Hayes. Hayes wants Abdul-Jabbar, doesn't he?
He wants
No way he wasn't going to take that shot that time. Drew on the offensive board. Just wouldn't fall, but he pulled down an offensive board, and here comes Archibald slowly. Now the West with a chance to tie it. 2:16 to go in the first half. There's the pass to Abdul-Jabbar. McAdoo backing into him on the double team. Gotta be a foul on McAdoo. No doubt about it.
Number 12.
Well, that's one way to stop him. Take a look, make a sandwich out of him, folks.
Let's watch this. You'll see McAdoo try to double team and backs up, keeps backing up, and he figures, well, as long as I'm going to get one, I might as well get a good one.
Well, they're holding him and grabbing him and doing everything. They know who the main man is in the West. Here's Rick Barry. Gives it off to Dandridge. Doesn't have a shot. He's got 8 points. Now he goes to Rick Barry and comes out. You can hear him. 2-2 got him underneath, he said, and 2-2 is John Drew. Rick Barry will come to the line.
I've got a comment on that signal.
3 years. You like that one?
It's important to do that for one reason, because a lot of fans, when a player will go up for a shot, will look at the arms, will look at the hands of the defense, and they'll see no contact, as we saw on that play. But he did catch him down low at the legs, and of course that's a 2-shot foul. Now Barry, being the free thrower that he is, will undoubtedly convert 2, as he did.
He can do it with a blindfold, right?
He did 10 in a row one day in practice.
Walt Frazier cuts over to the left-hand side. Tied at 43 after those 2 free throws by Barry. Frazier off to McAdoo. Barry has him, and Barry knocked it away, and we've got contact. Barry is called for a foul. Still not in the penalty. That is their 4th, so they'll take it out of bounds. Frazier will give it off to Randy Smith. Down to 1:45 in the first half here in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. NBA's 26th annual All-Star Extravaganza. Here's Randy Smith off his foot. He got it. Comes up with a long jump shot. Won't go, and Dandridge pulls it down. Whistle as they came away from the basket back there.
Unfortunate misstep by Dandridge, because Barry was on the right wing. Brian Winters was on the left wing. There was going to be a 2-1 break against Frazier, but those things will happen in a game.
Important turnover. East with a chance to move out ahead again. Frazier double team, goes to McAdoo, shoots up over Winters. How about that for outside shooting by that big guy? Is that incredible?
That's really out of his range or anybody else's range.
There's no such thing as out of McAdoo's range.
As long as they win, Fat and Silk scoring machine will throw him up.
Well, here's Barry. He can do it. This time he decides to drive inside. Good move. Couldn't keep it in play. We got a loose ball foul coming up the other way.
Loose ball foul, 2.
And that was on Barry, who went back up and tried to tap in his miss that time.
Let's watch as Barry goes up, gets the free throw. And we have a loose ball foul. Barry tried to force that shot against McAdoo. Had the good shot, tried to use the glass, missed it. Of course, in the penalty situation, you go to 2 shots, Brent.
Right, here's the scoring leader in the NBA. 31 points. Well, we go. A game for Bobby McAdoo. Won the scoring title each of the last 2 years.
I tell you, Rick has his work cut out for him right now, because McAdoo is a very, very tough offensive player, and Rick is the one who's assigned to him.
Great shooter like that, and then he makes us look bad by missing him. Here's Rick Barry. McAdoo watching him. Barry facing the basket right now. 45-43. Inside of a minute. West down by a field goal. Abdul-Jabbar picked it up, and we got a loose ball foul.
I got a foul on number 12, and it pushed from behind. And
McAdoo pushing against Abdul-Jabbar, and that is the 3rd foul against McAdoo. And Abdul-Jabbar will come to the free throw line. Every time I see the big guy come to the line, I got to think about Wilt Chamberlain for some reason. I wonder if Wilt's sitting out there in that palatial pad of his in Los Angeles with a can of whatever he's drinking these days and watching these All-Star games.
And watching these young tall players convert free throws.
Well, if he's watching, Abdul-Jabbar can shoot free throws a lot better than you can.
I'll say one thing about Wilt, though. He holds the record for conversions in the NBA, which I'll talk about later.
Tied at 45. 45 seconds to go. Frazier on a drive, and Abdul-Jabbar rejected it.
Wilt holds the most conversions in one game when he scored 28 out of 32 free throws.
Is that the night he got the 100?
That's the night he got the 100, friend.
Here's John Drew. Up and knocked away, and Rick Barry's got it on the steal. Here's Tiny Archibald against Smith. Straight West is up by a field goal on that super play that time. Here is Elvin Hayes. Bob McAdoo holds the ball. Rick Barry watching him. McAdoo rotating. Knocked away by Barry. Here they come again. Over the head pass. Barry. Oh, back came McAdoo. Barry's all right. Went into the crowd. He was fouled as he came across and made it. It was 49-45. And, of course, that's the fourth foul on McAdoo. So McAdoo with 4 personal fouls.
Now, you talk about players who put out, who come here to play. You just saw a play with McAdoo and Barry, and that is absolute desire, great respect for themselves, doing their thing.
Suddenly, the West has gone back ahead, 50-45. Last shot coming up, bad pass. Abdul-Jabbar knocks it to Winters. Here comes Rick Barry on the move again. Great pass to Dandridge. Tipped back up by Archibald. Dandridge back, clock is out. Won't go, Mahalik says. Will not count, and Dandridge says, how can you do that to me? The ball was still in play. Give me the basket. And Mahalik's not going to give it to him. So what a furious closing few moments there by the Western Conference All-Stars. They came alive, and they have moved ahead of the East by a score of 50-45. They were behind by 6. Rick Barry has scored 11 points to lead the West. Members of the Hall of Fame who will be inducted this summer who made tremendous names for themselves in the National Basketball Association. I'm speaking of Tom Gola and Bill Sharman. We want to congratulate both of them, along with Moose Krause and Harry Litwack. You are taking a look at Gola, and what a reputation he had here in Philadelphia in high school at LaSalle, and then, of course, with the Warriors and the Knicks in pro basketball. Bill Sharman, out of USC, perhaps the finest pure shooter ever to play in the NBA with the Boston Celtics. Now, of course, Sharman is the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. So congratulations to those two, and also Harry Litwack, who was a great coach here at Temple, and Moose Krause, who now is the athletic director at Notre Dame. All will be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame this summer in Springfield, Massachusetts. Speaking of Massachusetts, let's call in the commissioner of the NBA, Larry O'Brien. And Larry, I know you've had a couple of hard days here putting an end to this Oscar Robertson suit, what appears to be an out-of-court settlement, and I think the main point's the fact that basketball is going to do away with the reserve clause and compensation if one player jumps to another. What does this actually mean?
Well, actually, Brent, it does mean that we have achieved a major resolution of a collective bargaining agreement. There are other elements yet to be negotiated, but this is a major element. And that is very, very significant. And, of course, along with that, Brent, we have resolved a costly lawsuit, at least potentially at the moment.
Okay, now, what have you replaced compensation with? What are you going to do in the year 1980?
Well, we'll work. This extends over a period of 10 years, Brent. The first 5 seasons will have the status quo. We'll operate as we have been, and there'll be a phasing period to adjust to this. And then we'll go to what is called first refusal. That means that a player going to a team that he desires to go to, and that team bids for that player, establishes the top offer for him. The player then goes back to his present team, and the present team can retain the player if it matches that bid. It's a first refusal.
How many days do they have to match it?
Well, that hasn't been established yet. We will be setting up time frames, a lot of the details very soon. But I think that what we're talking about in the final analysis is a decided change, a new approach, a concept over 10 years that is a little bit revolutionary in a way.
Now, Los Angeles and New York have got to have more money than a lot of the other teams in the league. What's to prevent them from going out now and buying the best teams in basketball, and the other teams won't be able to meet the price?
Well, some people feel that will occur, but this is untried, untested, and our feeling is with first refusal, with the retention of the draft, which assures the initial phase that provides competition and balance in the league, that this is workable. It will open it up considerably. It'll broaden the whole operation, but I think we're moving in a direction that it's new and indeed historic for sport in America.
What does this do for a merger possibility between the NBA and the ABA?
Well, as you know, there was an assumption that if we resolved all this, then that would automatically lead to merger, and that is not the case. The Board of Governors of the NBA unanimously declared today that they are opposed to merger with any league. The NBA will go on as the NBA, and there will be no merger. That was their decision unanimously today.
Larry, I want to congratulate you on the hard work, and somebody else I want to say a good word about, and I'll tell you, that's Larry Fleischer, who is the head of the NBA Players Association.
Let me join with you in that regard, because just quickly, Brent, I was told two things when I took this job. The owners, you never can work with them. The players, you will never cooperate with you. I have found just the opposite. The owners and the players will work together. I have found no difficulty in that regard. Intense, tough, difficult negotiations all the way, but by gosh, they've gotten there together.
Well, I want to tell you, in his own quiet way, Fleischer's done a better job for the basketball players than perhaps some of the leaders of the other unions, and I just hope that basketball and baseball, now, of course, we've got leadership established by basketball, and I mentioned baseball and throw in football, and perhaps we can get all this mess resolved and we can get back to concentrating on the games.
I think they're all looking at us tonight, Brent, and they'll be watching to see how it functions.
All right, Larry, thank you very much for being with us.
Nice being here tonight.
About how they can get one, well, just write the NBA office in New York City. Mindy, if I'm not mistaken, 1 Pennsylvania Plaza is the address of the office. Is that right?
2 Penn Plaza.
2 Penn Plaza.
Right.
Do you remember the zip code?
2 Penn Plaza.
You sent in enough reports.
I don't remember the zip code, but I remember the suite number.
Find out the zip
2010.
code. All right. Here comes Doug Collins. Down the left side for the East. Gives to Havlicek. Berry has him. Remember, it's a 5-point Western Conference lead right now. East won it a year ago in Phoenix, 108-102. Elvin Hayes gives to Havlicek, and there is definitely more movement for the East. Bing up fine and drills it.
Tommy Heinsohn told them at halftime, come out, take your shots, don't wait around, don't overpass, get that ball to the hoop.
Berry faces the basket, puts it down on the floor. Here's Abdul-Jabbar working against Collins. Sky at right hand.
That's the first Sky hook of the game, and I was wondering when it was going to happen. Tommy Heinsohn pensively thinking about what's happening with his club, finding himself down by 5.
Baseline drive by Havlicek. It comes out the other side to his teammate Collins, who misses it, and Berry has the rebound. Brings it down for the Western All-Star. Quick pass to Dandridge, and there was traveling on that play. So the West continues to turn it over a little bit more than the East. Collins gives off to Hayes, who drives to the hoop, and there's a foul called on Hayes. Offense, he drove into Bobby Dandridge that time. His third foul.
As we've talked about so often on a telecast, all the defender has to do is just hold his position. Watch this. And there's the charging foul. Hayes along the baseline.
Dandridge with the basketball. Collins. And it's Dandridge, and he misses this time. White jerseys come up in the air. 2 of them. Hayes gives off to Bing. Over to Collins, who has it now. Gives to Havlicek of the East. He's open.
I'll tell you that. Did you see that play? Collins really gave Rick Barry a shot on that play. Let's see what happens if they come down again.
Archibald gives off to Brian Winters. In and out. And it is McAdoo who has the rebound. Here's Doug Collins now. Guard for the East. On the bounce pass to Havlicek. Foul on Berry.
Barry is saying, I get it, you don't call it. But I do it, you catch me. There it was.
10:18 to go in the third quarter. 52-47. The West ahead of the East. Here is Bing up in the air. Dandridge out to Tiny Archibald, who brings it up with Brian Winters. Dave Bing waits now for Archibald. Dandridge joins the attack. Comes out the other end over to the weak side. Abdul-Jabbar moving on Cowens, going to bring up the hook again.
And Kareem knows what they need. They need scoring from the big guy.
Here's Doug Collins back down for the East around Cowens. Brian Hayes tries to draw the foul. Mahalik says, nice act, no foul. Berry with that pass out of bounds. And again, Brian Winters has not played that much with Rick, and Berry loves that pass. He'll make it quickly.
Yeah, he'll draw the defender out to him, and he shook his head as he went by. Brian Winters says, sorry, fella. If we'd have played together a little bit longer, perhaps you'd have known what was coming.
Doug Collins handling the ball for the East. Here is Cowens at a high post, quickly to Bing, who is posting Archibald. Turnaround was open, should have taken a shot. Doesn't, and here comes the West. Tiny moving on Havlicek. Has it knocked away by Collins. Ball goes out of bounds. Ball goes over to the East.
The East is looking for someone to spark. Perhaps it's Bing now. He's had 2 field goals so far this quarter.
Havlicek quickly to his teammate Cowens. Brian Winters, his first All-Star game, voted to the starting lineup by the fans. Abdul-Jabbar got it. He'll come to the line.
Watch Jabbar as he gets the ball down low. Takes a look at where Cowens is, catches him up in the air, and there's no way to stop this sky hook shot. Once it go up, as he used to say on the court.
Mendy, it's pretty obvious that Al Allos has told Abdul-Jabbar to take some more shots and for the Western All-Stars to get him that basketball. Here's Cowens. The East, on the other hand, trying to move it a little bit. Hayes was fouled by Abdul-Jabbar, who cut back on it. Mahalik picked it up on him. That's his second foul, and we got a timeout called right now. Jabbar has 13 points and 13 rebounds. Without a doubt, he is the key man for the Western Conference All-Stars. The man the East will have to stop.
Why don't we next time Tommy Heinz is a heavily favored East team here, and he is really upset that no one is double teaming Jabbar. He just gave very definite instructions. When Jabbar gets the ball and puts it to the floor, he wants everybody to converge. I shouldn't say everybody. He wants to be double teamed or perhaps triple teamed. He doesn't want them to get the ball down low.
Abdul-Jabbar, the only scorer for the Western Conference All-Stars so far in this third quarter. They have increased a 5-point lead by 1, up now by 6, 57-51. 8:51 to go to the third, and Elvin Hayes of the Washington Bullets comes to the free throw line. Playing with an injured right wrist. Fell on it, attempting a rebound. I think he told me he came up over the top of Wesley Unseld. Took some heat treatment this morning at practice. Misses the free throws, could be affected by the injured wrist. Here's his teammate Bing. Here is Hayes. He's got a great turnaround up on Dandridge.
Well, that's a mismatch with Dandridge against Hayes. Hayes will go all night over Dandridge.
Big George McGinnis getting ready to check back into the game for the East. Tiny Archibald holds it up. JoJo White also coming back in. Here's the pass for Abdul-Jabbar. Knocked away by Doug Collins on the move. He outruns Winters to the ball. On the turnaround underneath, he's got it. 57-55. Just a 2-point lead by the West. Bing has Berry. Bing trying to keep him outside. And there was a foul. Berry started his move, and Bing is called.
As Collins drives the lane, Brian Winters behind him. He knows he can't charge over him, takes a little pivot, swirls around, and you saw the field goal.
Here is JoJo White on the right side, looking now for someone to pass the ball. At the free throw line, it's inside Brian Winters.
As you saw, JoJo caught the young man up in the air, waiting for the come down and in for the hoop.
Score tied with 7 minutes, and it is untied just as quickly by Tiny. Here is JoJo White.
That'll bring some clouds.
He's thrown into bombers, isn't he, Mendy? Here's a pass back, knocked away by Jabbar. Hustling Dave Cowens still gets to it. Sealed off in the corner. McGinnis open on the other side. Working against Dandridge. That one-hand shot. Powerful move. Abdul-Jabbar and Cowens battling. West controls. Heinsohn says, aren't you going to blow the whistle on that? Here is Tiny, cut off by McGinnis. Starts his move. Gets past. Dandridge for the basket. And it was Cowens with a tremendous defensive play. Here is Archibald. Knocked away from Rick Berry. Cowens comes out. Addo screaming he wants the foul. Winters and Bing have contact as they come to the midcourt line. A timeout has been called by Tommy Heinsohn. The action fast and furious right now in the Spectrum. 6:23 to go here in the third quarter. We've got a score of 61 to 59, and there are a lot of All-Stars who came to play tonight. They're the only Western Conference All-Stars who've scored. They lead by a couple of points. It's a pretty good view of the big guy in his goggles. He has turned in a performance, and as we said this morning at breakfast, Mindy Rudolph, a lot depends on his mental attitude. If he wants to put out in this game, it is going to be tough for the East to beat him.
He has the total responsibility of rebounding and scoring down low. And he's handling it this second half beautiful.
Dave Bing of the Washington Bullets has tied the score with 6:22 to go in the third quarter. Archibald bringing it down. He's working with Fred Brown of the Seattle Supersonics to the backcourt very quickly with that shot outside. JoJo White and Bing will bring it up for the East. McGinnis, Cowens, and Havlicek. Havlicek moving all over the place on Berry. And a perpetual motion. Seldom stops out there. Bing makes a drive down. Couldn't get the shot off. On the turnover, here comes Archibald to the west. Leads it down the middle. McGinnis ready on defense. JoJo White out for the East. Abdul-Jabbar's waiting for JoJo. Makes the pass to Bing. Bing moves back outside, expecting Abdul-Jabbar to be there, and it was a fine move by David.
Kareem did everything right. Had 3 men coming at him. Played defense as well as he could. Dave Bing with the jump shot.
Tied again at 63. 5:38. Fred Brown and Berry's open. Blocked, and there was contact. David Cowens was there. Doubt about it. The big redhead went up with him. Third team foul against the East.
This is well deserved because on the previous series of plays, Barry really took a shot from Cowens. And if there's ever a foul that was coming to a man, it was that one. He really took a shot.
Berry has 13 points along with Archibald and Abdul-Jabbar. So he now becomes the Western Conference leader with 14 as the West goes up by a point. 5:35 to go in the third. And he puts in his 15th point. Dave Bing brings it down, and Berry's given the West a 2-point lead. Havlicek picks off Fred Brown. Berry jumps out on defense on a switch. Bing comes back down to the line. Blocked out by Abdul-Jabbar. Havlicek underneath, and there was a foul, and it counts. John Havlicek with a chance for the 3-point play. Rick Berry was called for the foul.
Let's watch this furious action as Dave Bing is up, around. A great pass by Dave Bing. Havlicek in a great position as Barry reaches in. Havlicek keeps coming, and that's desire. That's hustle. He didn't stop when the whistle was blown, Brett. He just kept moving up.
4 fouls on Berry, too, Mindy. Very important. He's gone out to take a break. Scott Wedman of Kansas City has checked back in. Norm Van Leer of Chicago is on the floor. He and Brown are the guards now. Van Leer gets right past Bing and lays it up. Great penetration. Ball wouldn't go. Cowens with the outlet pass. Bing on the control. Drive inside. 68 to 65. The East has gone up by 3 as we go back and forth here in the second half. 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Abdul-Jabbar with a great pass to Wedman, who's all alone.
Jabbar, knowing they're going to double team, looks for the open man when he sees that and found Wedman. JoJo White of the Celtics back down for the East. Takes a shot outside. Yanked down by Dave Cowens. Keeps it alive. Drives on Abdul-Jabbar. There was contact as he tried to go to the basket. Abdul-Jabbar can't believe it. He said, I didn't touch him at all. There was no contact. Let's pick this up. Cowens, the left-hander, will come across the lane, best of his fashion, arm and ball at the same time, and that's a 2-shot foul for Cowens. We're in the penalty situation, Brent, so we're going to go 3 for 2. Cowens with 6 points, steps to the free throw line. Dave Bing has scored 8. He is the leader on the East right now, and if you check those stats through the years, Bing has had a rough time during All-Star competition. Oops, I forgot my friend Bob McAdoo. He's not out there right now. He's their high scorer. He's got 12 points. So Abdul-Jabbar is going to take a rest. Here comes Al Adams with a score of 69-67. And Adams of the Phoenix Suns has got an awesome responsibility. He has got to hold the Western Conference in this game now until Abdul-Jabbar gets a rest and gets back on the floor. I think the whole front line has a tremendous responsibility for the West. McGinnis, McAdoo, and Cowens out there. That is tough, tough personnel. Wedman looking against McAdoo. There was a foul away from the ball. It's a holding call on Big George McGinnis.
And if George McGinnis holds you, you better believe you're going to come to a halt.
And you aren't going anywhere.
Fred Brown with a pass to Jamal Wilkes of the Golden State Warriors. Up with that jump shot from behind his head. Dave Bing pulls it down, turning in a fine game here for the East. For 6 years, was an All-Star as a member of Detroit. Here's McGinnis, gives off to Cowens. Somebody's got to go with the redhead. They got to play some defense in that front line in the West now. East will get it out of control. It's 72-67. Van Leer to Brown. Quickly to Scott Wedman. Brown comes in behind him right now. McAdoo picks up Wedman, who goes to the weak side. Brown with the ball. Adams is open. Don't see him. Brooks outside. Won't be there. JoJo has it taken away by Norm Van Leer. Quick hands, and here's Adams up with a shot. No go. Down comes Dave Cowens. Outlet pass over McGinnis' head. Fred Brown on the interception at the 20-yard line. Back comes Van Leer now, right down the center of the court. Waitson comes over to the right side of Freddie Brown. Brown up with a jumper. In and out. Brooks with an offensive rebound. Brown again. He's a great shot, and Adams goes back up with an offensive score.
Big field goal by the West, and a great rebound by Adams. They needed that field goal because the East was on a tear there for a few seconds, Brent.
3:25. Bing to JoJo on the weave. Pass back to McAdoo, and he was held. Norm Van Leer. Well, I said that Darrell Garretson and Norm Van Leer were going to get back together, and I don't want to be obtuse with a lot of our viewers because it was Garretson, the referee, whom Van Leer plowed into and received a 3-game suspension. So they're meeting for the first time since that suspension, and you're looking at Dave Cowens, who's getting a breather. McAdoo is at the free throw line, and he tosses in point number 13 for the East.
I checked with Norm at practice this morning when we attended, and I said, Norm, I said, you guess who's refereeing tonight? He said, you don't have to tell me. Just because you ask me, I'll guess it.
And here is Norm Van Leer, one of the great penetrators in the NBA. Brown gives off to Jamal Wilkes, the kind of guard that all kinds of coaches are interested in getting their hands on. Van Leer quickly back to Al Adams, who puts a move on Hayes and comes up, and it is McGinnis down with the rebound. From behind his back, now comes across the line. Walt Frazier is going to be checking in. McGinnis gives off to Dave Bing outside. Bingo, and I'm glad to see it happen. He wasn't even hitting 30% as an All-Star, and he's turning in a tremendous game here tonight. 76-69, 2:43 to go in the third quarter. Jamal Wilkes, first All-Star game, drives to the hoop, puts it up, won't go, but he'll come to the line.
All right, fouls on number 11, over the top, 2 shots.
Elvin Hayes committed his 4th personal foul. Walt Frazier gets ready to check back in. We've got a timeout right now with 2:39 to go. Dave Bing in this period has hit 4 of 4, scored a total of 10 points. He's got the East back out ahead.
Welcome back to the NBA's greatest game.
Take a look at Dancing Harry putting the hex on the West. You better aim that at Abdul Jabbar. He's over there getting a rest. Well, let's see what it does to Jamal Wilkes at the free throw line. 76-69.
The West is out here now, Brent, with 5 non-starters, with Wedman, Van Leer, Wilkes, Adams, and Brown. And this is the tale of the benches.
All right, let's see how those reserves do on defense. As JoJo White brings it up, the East leading by 5, trailed by that many at halftime. So there's been a 10-point turnaround. McAdoo off to Walt Frazier of the Knicks. Starts his move. Jamal Wilkes has it to the defensive switch. Pass picked up by Van Leer. JoJo came back, and Van Leer retains it. Pass intercepted by McGinnis on a great play, but Van Leer comes back, and it was out of bounds on that side.
I thought McGinnis was going to go topsy-turvy over that table.
I think we're watching a playoff game instead of an all-star game. It's that kind of intense feeling right now. Van Leer gives off to Scott Wedman. McAdoo has him. Out jumps Elvin Hayes. Here's Van Leer against White. Van Leer gets inside, and there was contact. So it was on JoJo White. You know, Mindy, I want to say we had a very frightened producer earlier today. Chuck Milton. He got a certified piece of mail from the Internal Revenue Service, and you know what that usually means. And I happen to find this, and the IRS wants to remind all of our viewers that the reports from the regional service centers indicate that many taxpayers are forgetting to take the $30 personal exemption credit for themselves and their relatives. So, folks, take that $30 for yourselves. And Charles Milton recovered in time to get out here and produce this action. We got a foul underneath. He just told me I'm fired. He doesn't like all that publicity. Foul was on Wedman, his first of the game. 76-72. The East up by 4 points. We come down to the 2-minute mark in the third quarter. So here is big George McGinnis. Nice to have the big guy over from the ABA, isn't it, folks? He's a player.
I spoke to him during practice, and I asked him, George, the difference between the ABA and the NBA. He said, Mendy, I'll tell you, I come here, I have to work every night. The defense in this league is just absolutely, totally different.
I'm going to disagree with you right now because I think with that consolidation over there, they got several fine teams in that league. I think that Denver ball club and a couple others can play this game. No response, man.
No response.
Freddie Brown up with a jump shot, hits it.
Only because
you could have had $1 million if you'd have jumped to that league to referee. Ball is knocked out of bounds. We take a look at a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers. She'll be here Sunday, and we'll be back for Buffalo against the Philadelphia 76ers on CBS Sunday afternoon. White is picked up by Wedman on the defensive switch. Here's Elvin Hayes. Fred Brown working out high, knocked away by Van Leer and out of bounds.
I tell you, we had a mismatch there with Van Leer against McGinnis, and when Van Leer was in back of McGinnis, you couldn't even see him outside of his blue pants.
I'd like to see the ABA champion and the NBA champion get together this year for a World Series. McAdoo up high with a jump shot. Down comes McGinnis. Right with that board. Here's Van Leer off to Freddie Brown. Brown brings it up quickly on Walt Frazier. Gives it off to Scott Wedman of Kansas City. Wedman out the other side. Back now to Alvin Adams. Nobody is there. We've got 1:14 to go in the third. Yes. And he traveled.
He made a little rookie mistake that time, Brent. That's what you look for, overpassing, by not giving the ball away as soon as you see the open man.
Freddie Brown got back there, tapped the ball out of bounds, so we got pressure being put on by Van Leer and Brown. So McGinnis goes back to help out. He'll bring it up for the East. Look at him. Just it all off of McAdoo's hand, and Frazier goes back down toward 1 minute. 79-74, East ahead, and Frazier increases it. Brown with a quick pass to Jamal Rooks. Rooks with that jump shot. What a performer he has been. Rookie of the Year out of UCLA.
Smooth as silk.
Well, you'd have to rank him with the all-time greats that John Wooden coached, let me tell you. He got a traveling call. Frazier was turning it over that time, so the East has turned it over with an 81-76 score and about a half minute to go. There's George McGinnis along the bench. Everyone but Rudy Tomjanovich has scored so far in this game, and he has come back into the lineup for the East. So he's the only non-scorer for the East. He's in there. Van Leer to Freddie Brown. Brown makes a move on Frazier and gets inside and drills it.
Hey, you got to give Al Adams a lot of credit now. He is resting his starters. They've got a second team in there completely. Now, when they come back for the fourth quarter, they're going to be well rested as opposed to some of the East players who are not. And we'll see what takes place as we go into the last 12.
Here's Frazier quickly to Tomjanovich of the Rockets. Cut off and goes back to Walt. Down inside the baseline. Adams was up there and came down on it. Well, it is a very tough job for Alvin Adams. Just a rookie playing in this game out of the Phoenix Suns. Extremely eager to
Frazier, Brent, does probably better than anybody in this league. 1 pump, 2 pumps, waits, and up he goes. He has that time just perfectly. Draws more fouls than anybody in this league on that play.
2 for 1.
Last year, Frazier had 30 points. Working on 7 right now. 83-78. Here comes the last shot in the third quarter. Van Leer quickly gets inside of Frazier and throws it up, and Van Leer runs into the base of that basket, and he's still on the floor back there as time runs out. Now Norman is getting up. Dick D'Oliva, the trainer of Golden State and the All-Stars, out there with Al Adams. He's going to be okay. Norm Van Leer is all right, but he took some shot after this drive to the basket. We've come to the end of the third. Is not among those scoring leaders, but he had a big third quarter. 7 points for the East, total of 10. As far as the rebounders are concerned, 14 rebounds for Abdul-Jabbar and 13 for Dave Cowens. There's McGinnis taking a break, as is Rick Barry.
We had a little touch of conversation before about the NBA and the ABA with George McGinnis as far as defense was concerned. No matter what you want to say about the ABA and the NBA, when I left George, he looked at me and he smiled, gave me a big wink, said, thanks for the NBA, especially its contract.
McAdoo down with the rebound, and here comes Randy Smith. Turnover, Jamal Wilkes to Freddie Brown. Hayes tried to come back on defense and couldn't get there in time. It's 83-82. The East up by a slim point, just underway in the fourth quarter. 26th annual NBA All-Star Game for the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Here's Randy Smith of Buffalo back in the game, hits the jump shot. Working with Frazier in the backcourt. Tomjanovich, McAdoo, and Hayes the front line. Phil Smith is back in the game, along with Fred Brown. They are the backcourt for the West. Wilkes, Wedman, Abdul-Jabbar in the front line, and Freddie Brown is red hot, and look out when he gets hot.
The free spirit, he'll let him fly.
Here is Walt Frazier. You know, a year ago I thought he should have been on the All-Star team, and he wasn't. And there's a guy this year I think it belongs there, and that's Pete Maravich. New Orleans doing a fine job. Here's Elvin Hayes. Faces the basket, gives off now to Walt Frazier. Back to Elvin Hayes. Hayes dishes it inside to McAdoo. Out there. Battle for that rebound. Wedman off to Phil Smith. Smith quickly down to Jamal Wilkes, and he's got daylight. The West moves back ahead, 86-85. 10:35 to go. Frazier to Hayes. Hayes faces the basket. Abdul-Jabbar watching. Goes to the left to Walt Frazier, who's left open. In and out. Down comes Wedman with the defensive board. And here comes Fred Brown on the move for the West. Goes to the hoop. And Elvin Hayes was there. Freddie Brown called on the offense, so he must have been pushing off, didn't he?
Freddie Brown saying to Darrell Garrison, you got to be kidding me on this call. But let's watch now as he comes to the hoop. Watch his left arm now. See it? There it is. Right across Elvin Hayes' chest.
Pretty good karate chop. Frazier on the left side. Back to Hayes, who's playing out very high. Tomjanovich gives back to Elvin Hayes. Here's Hayes working against Jamal Wilkes, who's all over it. Finally hits the turnaround from that right side.
Big difference here in a couple of plays, Brent, has been with when Hayes has picked up Wilkes on defense or Dandridge on defense. We have that overmatch.
1 point lead, and Phil Smith can't get it back, but Jamal Wilkes has got the ball, and he's been hot. Not this time. Frazier down with the rebound for the East. Brings it up. And here is Elvin Hayes shooting him over Abdul-Jabbar. And Tomjanovich, or Scott Wedman off quickly now to Phil Smith. Tomjanovich rotates back on defense, and here's Abdul-Jabbar with the sky hook. And there's Tomjanovich hustling at both ends, and there was traveling called. He and McAdoo got tangled up.
He called the play, that's it. McAdoo pulled Tomjanovich, his own teammate, and caused him to travel.
Dave Bing checks back in, and Walt Frazier will go out, and Rick Barry is back in for the West. Barry has scored 15 points, so he's their leading scorer. And here's his teammate from Golden State, Phil Smith, with a fine move inside.
I'll tell you, Brent, you can't tell too much about Al Adams. He has done it all for this West club. His coaching genius is so contagious. You can see it out here.
Tomjanovich goes to the hoop and hits his first field goal and scores his first points. And it's 89-88. Game seesawing back and forth. Pass from Barry to Abdul-Jabbar. Tremendous ball, won't foul. No foul call. McAdoo out. Here's Randy Smith. Makes his move to the basket. Pass back to McAdoo, who's left open. Uses the glass and hits it.
I think on that last pass to Abdul-Jabbar, Barry was looking for an alley-oop and wanted Jabbar to dunk the ball rather than to use it off the glass.
Jamal began his move, and Darrell Garrison whistled the foul over on that side as Curtis Rowe of Detroit checks back in. And Wilkes will go out.
Let's watch this play on Rudy T. As the penetration takes place, Randy Smith up. Rudy T is going to time this rebound just perfectly off the glass for a field goal.
In and out by Phil Smith. Hayes rebounds for the East. Bing is down with it over on the right-hand side. Randy Smith has it blocked by Abdul-Jabbar. Gets it back. Over now to Dave Bing. Bing outside, has the feel, and drills it. That's 12 points for Bing.
The long-range shooting of Dave Bing has hurt this West club.
McAdoo has scored 15. Barry comes right back as the shootout develops. He's got 17. Well, there's the mascot of the Washington Bullets, Tiny, on a road trip here. Rick Barry came out, touched that ball as it went out of bounds. Tiny Randy Archibald checks in.
You see a smile on Barry's face that moment. What he's really doing is there's a smile in disdain. He thought he got pushed off by Rudy Tomjanovich, and I have to agree on that play.
Bing goes into McAdoo. Curtis Rowe is on him. McAdoo almost decided to go up over him, then passed off. Bing is now over in the right-hand corner. Phil Smith has him. Shot clock winding down as Randy Smith fires in, hits it in. He's hot. 6 points. 2 field goals in the fourth quarter for Smith. It's 95-90. East up by 5. Archibald off to Berry. Berry outside. Here is McAdoo. Randy Smith brings it back down. They're going to have to go back inside to Abdul-Jabbar, Mindy, and go for some more of those sky hooks. Here is Havlicek off to Elvin Hayes. East is red on right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if Adams would call a timeout here until they get his charges together, because they're not doing what they started to do early in the third quarter.
Here's Abdul-Jabbar. Hayes holding on it. Now Berry uses back to Abdul-Jabbar. How about that for a pick and roll? An easy one. Dave Bing over on the right sideline, bringing it down for the East. They're up now by 5 points with 7 minutes to go in this ball game. Hayes holds the ball. Abdul-Jabbar eyes him. Smith is hot, and they left him open.
He'll talk about Jabbar not hustling, but I'll tell you, he tried his darndest to block that shot, and he just missed it by a nickel.
Phil Smith up. Cuts that East lead to 5 points. 6:35 as he drills it. Bing quickly to Bob McAdoo. Up over Rick Berry. He's got it. So it is 18 points for McAdoo. He has found the range, and he's thrown them in. The shootout is developing. McAdoo and Berry. Here is Rick. Havlicek has him. Berry gives off to his teammate. Back to Berry. Rick will take it. In and out, and Havlicek's got the rebound. Quickly to Dave Bing. Brings it down 2-on-2. Comes up with a shot. McAdoo. 20 points for Bob McAdoo.
West has got to go to the big guy. They haven't done that in the last 2 or 3 minutes, and that's the difference in the score right now.
The East has opened up its biggest lead, 9 points. Curtis Rowe fires. Elvin Hayes yanks it down. The East is doing everything right. Rebounding, moving the ball, scoring. Here's Bing on the drive. Left open, defensive mistake.
They've got to call a timeout. I'm surprised they didn't do it 2 field goals ago. We saw Curtis Rowe with a bad shot from outside, out of his range. Barry taking 2 shots from outside, a little bit out of his range, where the penetration should take place, as you see Dave Bing doing right now. Into the hoop, you're either going to pick up a foul or get a field goal of some kind, and they've got to go inside. Watch this shot. You'll see some great camera work by our director, Sandy Grossman, on that. As the pick is set for Barry, he'll come around Jabbar, as Brent described so beautifully. There's the pick and roll. Jabbar in for the hoop. That is beautiful basketball.
So far in the fourth quarter, Mindy, the East has hit 11 of 16. They are blazing hot, and the West only 7 of 16. Let's check that West lineup right now. Smith and Archibald the guards. Dandridge back in with Berry. There's another turnover. Hayes comes roaring out of there. Gives to Randy Smith, and there's contact as he collided with Bobby Dandridge. Foul is on Bobby as he got back on defense and was all over Smith.
As we said before the timeout, they went down low to Jabbar. The pass was a little bit too low. Now, when Jabbar holds his hands up, that's where they've got to hit him. They got to hit him on his hands, not down by his belly someplace, because that ball can be stolen. Get it up high to him.
Elvin Hayes has yanked down 10 rebounds in this game. Has scored just as many points. Here is Hondo John Havlicek. Out of bounds as it went up over the top and outside. And I am told that complicated chart right there is an MVP chart. Is that right? Do you know how that works?
All I can see up there is 1 quarter, 2 quarters, and 3 quarters.
They're going to need a computer, folks. Don't go away.
We predicted it. Download to Jabbar.
That's what they've got to do. It's 105-96. We come down to the final 5 minutes of this All-Star game. Big is open. What a game he's played. He gets my vote. Here is Phil Smith up on the left side. Randy Smith picks him up on defense right now. Here's Abdul-Jabbar. Doug Collins going to check back in. Abdul-Jabbar backs Hayes in. Comes up with a turnaround shot and drills it. He has 19.
After saying go down to Jabbar, go down low, I think he can coach in this league a little bit, Brent.
Oh, no, not me. Coaches have no security at all. That's the toughest job in the world. And as a matter of fact, a good friend of mine got fired. Ray Scott. I'm surprised. I don't know the inside. I think he did a tremendous job. And I just hope that Ray Scott gets another opportunity to coach in the NBA. I thought he did a good job, and I'm sorry it happened.
He'll be back in basketball, I can assure you.
David Bing will take the ball out of bounds now for the East. Goes to Havlicek, and Berry was on him. He picked up the foul over there in the corner. That is the 5th personal on Rick Berry. Havlicek goes to Doug Collins. Back now to Havlicek. Rick Berry watches him, and here's Hayes. Faces the hoop out way high. Here's Havlicek. McAdoo tried to pass back perhaps one too many times, and they still come up with it as Hayes hits it. Boy, they can do nothing wrong right now. Even when they pass too often, they come away with a hoop. It's 109-98. It's 4:15. Archibald with the bomb. McAdoo went up with Dandridge, and we got a loose ball foul. It was on Dandridge. That's the 24-second clock. That's the timer right there who gets it started. There you can see counting down toward 15 seconds. Bing dribbling. Now it goes down inside of 15. Bad pass. It'll recycle to a full 24. Dandridge in the bounce pass. Archibald. And there's contact as he came to the hoop.
You may have heard Paul Mihalik on that play say pass, which indicated immediately that there was not going to be a 2-shot foul on that play and just a 1-shot foul. Of course, under the penalty situation, we'll take it out of bounds and put it back in.
Foul was against Doug Collins. His 3rd. Freddie Brown is off. Dandridge came back down and traveled. You saw it.
Once you leave the floor with the ball, Brent, you must either pass or you must shoot. You cannot dribble.
109-98, an 11-point difference. McGinnis going to check back in. Crowd cheering that move. Inside to McAdoo. And for Big Bob McAdoo, he's got 22.
Okay, you said me. If the East wins, I say possibly McAdoo.
All right, here's Archibald now. Abdul-Jabbar. He's left alone. Won't go. Here comes Doug Collins out of there, taken away by Dandridge, who controls it despite good defense by Havlicek. Here's Abdul-Jabbar holding it. Moving down to 3:15. West will have to shoot in a hurry. Abdul-Jabbar with an over-the-head tip that won't go. Here is Tiny Archibald. Abdul-Jabbar who puts it in, and he was fouled. Marvelous work by the West. Archibald and Abdul-Jabbar. What a show they gave us.
And you saw the big guy go after the Archibald and clap his hands. Watch this now. Archibald will penetrate a beautiful behind-the-shoulder pass. Up goes Kareem for a stuff. And I'll tell you, after he received that pass from Archibald, he really went over with a 2-hand slap shake.
Got the free throw in the 3-point play. He's got 22 points. And if the West comes back and we're talking about MVPs, you got to put an X down for the big guy. Only one losing player has ever been the MVP, Bob Pettit, formerly of the St. Louis Hawks. What a ball player he was. Hayes on the bounce down to McGinnis with that one-handed turnaround. There's a check underneath, and won't go, and there's a foul.
You should have finished that Bob Pettit statement.
Number 32 hits in the arm.
Because the year that he was voted most valuable player in St. Louis on a losing team, the game was played in St. Louis. Do you think that had anything to do with it at all, Brent?
You mean there were some intimidated sports writers who weren't going to get out there alive?
But it was in St. Louis.
Well, Elvin Hayes of the Washington Bullets gets a nice round of applause as he goes over to the bench. I'll tell you what, these guys have worked. I haven't noticed anybody loafing so far on either of these squads. We've got 2:50 to go. 111-101. The East with a lead. They've got command right now.
Why do I love this game?
Mindy, what is that?
That's the buzzer.
What an answer, right? I think it looks like the switcher in our TV truck. Hey, camera 2, push camera 1. Oh, that's the clock over there on the right.
On the right, you have the clock. In the middle, you have the buzzer. On the left, you have the stop. Now, how do you like that kind of action, huh? Is that information for you?
There's Dancing Harry putting a few moves on. Eastern Conference out ahead. 111-101 down to the last 2:50 here. If Bob Pettit was the only losing player to be the MVP, Mindy Rudolph, who was the first MVP? And he happens to be here tonight.
You're throwing this trivia at me, and you're going to get buried asking me these questions because I'll answer. It's Ed Macaulay.
One
Easy Ed McCauley.
Right? How about
Remember
that?
how many points he scored that night in 1951?
I don't know that. How do you expect me to come up with
points,
that?
Mindy. Well, you told me you were going to bury me with trivia, so I see you're voting for the MVP too early, folks. Write it down that Mindy Rudolph is voting before the game's over and went for McAdoo, and I'm going to negate it. Brown comes up. Oh, great move by Freddie. It's 113 to 103.
You may be right, because McAdoo is out and Bing is in.
2:35 now.
I know which way you're going, right?
Here comes Darrell now over to the scorer's table.
Okay, break it down one time and then see if it'll be set for you.
I'll give you a bit of trivia.
24-second clock. There's referee Darrell Gerritsen. A very nice article on Darrell in the New York Times a couple of weeks ago in their Sunday magazine.
Well deserved, too. A bit of trivia. Who worked the
You
only...
said that because it mentioned you as one of the all-time greats.
I'm going to ask you a little question here. Who was one of the referees that worked the only overtime game in All-Star history?
Mindy Rudolph. That's right. It's on the shot clock. That's what they're continuing to discuss over here. Gerritsen said, give me a... Well, Gerritsen wanted a full cycle on that shot clock, and they ran it down. And now he says, give me 19, because that's about how many seconds they used. So that's why he is obviously positioning the clock right there. Doug Collins is standing right directly in front of us. Darrell goes back in now to make sure everybody knows that they'll have 19 seconds and not 24 to get the shot off. David Bing will put it in play. Archibald and Brown watching Bing and Collins. Pass goes to George McGinnis. Puts the ball on the floor. Here's McGinnis. Makes his move. You'll see him Sunday on CBS. Ball comes away with Doug Collins in possession. Bounce pass to Dave Cowan. Little left-handed hook shot. Wasn't that pretty?
And the West is becoming a little unraveled.
It's 1:15-103. Archibald passes off quickly to Scott Wedman on the turnaround. West must shoot quickly now. East can take advantage, and it looks as though that shot clock is broken definitely. It's down, stuck at 1 second over there. So here is George McGinnis, makes that move, one-handed shot, not there, and Cowens back quickly to Doug Collins. There is where it is stuck at 1 second. McGinnis passes off to Dave Bing. Well, if I was the East, I'd just run it down about a minute and a half here and make the officials stop the game. That's what I'd do.
Fortunately, the ball went out of bounds, so they'll correct it. But one of the referees really should have stopped that game when there was a time and play and corrected that clock. Now they can see it's at 1, and something's got to be done.
Certainly, the East can run down about 35 seconds, Mindy, in that situation.
And let me tell you what happened here. On this last conversation over here at the table, Darrell Gerritsen informed the 24-second clock keeper to run it off on a stopwatch. The 24-second clock cannot be prepared, or repaired, I should say, and what they'll do is announce when it gets down to 10 seconds to get a shot off.
1:28 to go. Out of it, Jabbar, the turnaround in and out. Cowan yanks it back down. And I'll tell you, the votes are in for New Hampshire, folks. I just got an early report from the truck that says Dave Bing is ahead of the All-Star balloting. Don't ask me how it's working tonight. I got an early return. Here is John Drew off to Bing. Won't go. Scott Wedman down with the rebound. Bing knocks it away and out of bounds, and that's it, Mindy. I'm voting for Dave Bing with that defensive move.
I owe you a beer.
All right, I'll take it after this one, let me tell you. In on Sunday. Going to be right back here in the Spectrum for the game between Philadelphia and Buffalo on CBS. Archibald puts a move on Bing and comes away with a shot. Won't go. Taken down by Dandridge. Nice play. Bobby Dandridge has proved beyond a doubt that he belongs on the All-Star team. No question about it. He has played extremely well. Palmer-Hollick said, let's shut the 24-second off altogether and clear that 1 second off of there. 53 seconds to go in this All-Star game. The East is going to win it. They won last year in Phoenix, and they're about to back it up.
10 seconds.
Here's Cowens holding the ball. Abdul-Jabbar. Cowens puts a shot up outside. You know, he won't even look up there to see that there's only 30 seconds to go. David Cowens will just keep on hustling. Here's a pass over to Tiny Archibald. Left open. Won't call for Tiny. John Drew of Atlanta yanks it down. Here comes Dave Bing. 3-on-1. Great pass to Collins. He has done it all.
Number 21 out there has done everything there is to do to run it off.
Archibald back inside. Won't go. What a tremendous performance for Dave Bing, because there were some who thought he was finished and washed up, and of course he was traded from Detroit to Washington. Was surprised to be voted as a starter on the Eastern Conference All-Stars.
Let's watch Dave Bing as he controls this dribble with one hand and will shovel it off. That's the beautiful style of a shovel pass in for the layup. Now, when you do that shovel pass, you don't have to get that one extra dribble in there and can move it right to the cutting player.
He has hit 7 of 11 from the floor, 4 assists, total of 16 points. Nick Curran, the publicist of the NBA, he's taking another vote. That's Maine, folks. They're coming in now. There we are. There's some more ballots rushed over to him. Harvey Pollack, the fine PR man from Philadelphia. I don't know when Harvey has any time to work on the MVP. He keeps so many statistics here in Philadelphia. Here is Archibald coming down. Latest report has Dave Bing ahead. The computers of CBS have declared him the winner. Here is Wilkes back up with a rebound tap in. Here's Cowens out of bounds with the pass. We come down to the last 10 seconds. It's all over. It's history. East has done it. Too much depth and experience. Helped a little bit by the hometown folks here in Philadelphia cheering on Doug Collins and George McGinnis. And they're both doing a job right now. It's all over. 123 to 109 was the final score. East the winner, and advise everybody to stay tuned for an interview. When you heard that racket in your living room, that was Mindy shedding one microphone and heading for another. He's going to be talking to Dave Bing, who was the MVP in this game, and what a night he had.
Sunday, the tap-off time is 1:30. 1:30 on Sunday.